It's so important to have a healthy view on sex, because what if we told you that God actually wants you to have an amazing sex life?
Yeah, it's just not okay, but it's actually the way that God designed us to thrive in this area. So today we're going to dive into what a healthy sex life looks like. When you think about sex, do you see it as a duty or a delight?
See, today we're going to talk to you about how to transform your mindset into seeing what sex can be and how it can actually improve your marriage. So the next thing we're going to be talking about is a healthy view on sex. Okay, so the number one thing, understanding, is sex is a gift from God.
Amen.
God designed sex for a husband and for a wife, right? And
but here's the cool thing. Like, he obviously created it to procreate. He didn't have to make it feel good. Like, that is a gift.
Praise God.
It is a gift. Like, that is a gift in it of itself. Obviously, kids are gifts too, but it's like we get to enjoy it.
Yes.
During.
Right.
You know?
And so it's not just the physical, but it's also the spiritual and the emotional.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it brings us closer together. There's actually research that shows, again, when you have a higher sex life, that you are actually stronger emotionally because you trust each other.
Right.
Sex is about trust. And that is, and again, where some people feel like they're not being heard or they're not having as much sex as they want or whatever it is, there's a lack of trust in that relationship. They begin to lose trust. And so if you want that intimacy to grow, if you want your spiritual life to grow with your spouse, because when two become one physically.
Yeah.
Right? Like that is what is happening in the act of sex.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important that we understand that when we embrace sex as a gift from God, it becomes a powerful way to connect on multiple levels, emotionally, physically, and spiritually.
And it's so hard. And it can be hard sometimes because if you're not there emotionally and spiritually, right? It's like what comes first.
Yeah.
But you got to get there.
Well, it's even kind of like we talk about so many times people wait to be motivated to do things.
That's true.
But what do we say?
You just do it and then motivation will come later.
That's it. You will never be motivated to go to the gym.
Never.
Right? Until you start going to the gym and you see the results. Now you're motivated.
Now you're motivated.
You're not motivated to put down the ice cream until you see the results. And now you're motivated to, I'm not going to pick up the ice cream cone because I'm getting healthy.
Right.
Right? I'm never motivated to save money until you see your bank account going up. And now, no, I'm not going to spend money on that stupid thing. I'm putting this in savings because I have a vision and a future.
Right.
It's the same thing with your sex life.
Yeah.
Understanding that you are not just going to be motivated. You know, us men probably are motivated.
Yeah,
that's why we're like, hey, you need a massage, you need a foot rub, you need some flowers, like, you know, like what you need.
I like all those things.
Okay, fine. Sounds good. You get them all. Sex should be mutual and selfless. Sex and marriage should be about serving each other, not just meeting one person's needs.
I think this is so big because here's the thing. It's not only in the bedroom that we're supposed to be selfless. This is a very anti-cultural thing right now. It's what can I get out of it? What is in it for me? And that's not how this is designed.
Right.
It is designed for your spouse. And obviously, they're to do it in return.
Yep.
And so, this is a heart check. Because I can tell you that I'm tired all day long, but you like tell me that I don't know, you're going to take me somewhere really fun that I want to go. I'm going to wake right up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you got to, we always tell each other, like, get your head in the game.
Yep.
Get your head in the game.
Get ready.
Get ready.
If this is speaking to you, I want you to click below and hit that subscribe button right now. So mutual satisfaction. Really? Satisfaction. We were watching a reel the other day, and literally she was just struggling.
Sure.
She was just like
I
I
still don't
said.
know what she was trying to say.
Oh man, mutual satisfaction are when both spouses seek to honor and please one another.
Yeah.
Now you will not know how to please your spouse without communicating with your spouse.
Yeah.
Communication matters so much in sex. It matters with, again, the questions we talked about. How do you like, what's your favorite kind of foreplay? What's your favorite kind of position? Would you want to wear something? Is this uncomfortable? You know, like there's so many things that matter because again, I'm serving you and vice versa. You're serving me. So having those conversations. 1 Corinthians 7 says, encourage couples to not withhold sex from each other, but to come to, or it doesn't say this, but it does encourage couples to not withhold sex from each other, but to come together in mutual love and respect. A healthy view of sex is one where both partners prioritize the other's needs. It's thinking that, really thinking, I'm going to meet her need. I'm going to meet his need. Now, the amazing thing about sex is my need also gets met during it.
Right.
But when I'm focusing
Not
on
every
you,
time. I mean, there are couples out there that isn't the case. And so you just have to be selfless.
and that also goes into the conversation because for some reason, I don't know, it's just the culture where we grow up in. So many times people think that when a woman is going to have an orgasm, that it is going to be through penetration and not understanding actually
The human body.
yeah, an orgasm the other way, you know,
Yeah.
like, and so that's another thing to have that conversation of if you're feeling that, okay, every time we have sex, the husband's having an orgasm and you never are, you need to have that conversation. What does that look like
Right.
to make sure that you also are able to
Yeah.
enjoy that,
Yeah.
you know?
That's really good.
Okay. So again, a question to talk to your spouse about, or maybe not a question, but a conversation to have with your spouse. Number 3, sex is key to emotional intimacy. Okay. Sexual intimacy is a crucial part of building emotional intimacy in marriage. A healthy sex life is connected to a healthy emotional relationship. And when couples regularly engage in sexual intimacy, it strengthens their emotional bond.
Yeah.
You want stronger emotional bond with your spouse, have a stronger sex life.
Which comes with conversation. It's all one. It's all intertwined. And so it's so important that just conversation is so important.
And that goes to even knowing, like you alluded to earlier, the season you're in. How busy is your schedule?
Yeah.
So what does that look like in busy seasons, in stressful seasons, right? In seasons of like you just said, a new child, or maybe you have littles at home, so you are really exhausted at night. How do you have these conversations to make sure that you're not putting one another on the back burner because of everything else that needs to happen?
Yeah.
So how would you say a husband or a wife needs to engage in that conversation?
We're specifically talking about
I would say
small children or just having kids.
I would say just about actually making sure that we don't lose that emotional intimacy.
Yeah.
And so the amount, I don't want to say the amount, but knowing that, yeah, what leads us to that connection, right?
Yeah.
Because again, if you just feel like, we mentioned this before, that you are either working back to back, side to side, or face to face, right? Back to back, you're going different directions.
Yep.
A lot of times couples are working side by side where they're advancing together, but they're not actually looking face to face and making that connection.
Right.
And so it's like getting to that place of face to face connection. How would you have that conversation?
The conversation, or how would you like walk it out? Because I think even in those hard seasons of like just having a baby or having small children, like I think you did a really good job at like meeting my like practical needs. Like those were really difficult times. Like we talked about earlier, I did not feel sexy. I did not want to. You just had a baby. Like you're exhausted. You smell like puke. You don't know the last time you had a shower. And so I feel like you were so aware of my needs, like, hey, go take a shower. Maybe it was my smell. Maybe it was the desperation on my face. I'm not sure which one it was. But like you were always aware that it's been a long day. I'm literally like keeping my child alive with my own body. You know what I'm saying? Like all of those things, you were very aware. And if you feel like your spouse is not aware of those things, maybe you just need to tell them. Not every person, I'm sure there was plenty of times that I communicated these needs to you. And by the third child, you had it figured out. You're like, oh, she needs a lot. And so not every person is aware of your needs because everybody is so different. And so having that conversation, I would say you need to think about what you need. Maybe you don't even know. And so it's like, okay, what would give me sanity right now? What would actually give me a real rest right now? Because sometimes a nap wouldn't. It's like, I don't necessarily want to sleep. Maybe it's a shower. Maybe it's whatever the case may be. Maybe it's going grocery shopping by yourself. I don't know. Getting out of the house.
Yeah.
And not looking like you're going to Walmart. I don't know what it is, but you have to, like, don't put all of the pressure on your spouse to meet your needs when the reality is you don't even know what you need. Like, that's very selfish. And so think about what you need, what would really help me in this time, and then bring it to your spouse. Hey, I don't think you're aware of this because I wasn't even aware of this. So I want to let you know that this would really help me.
Yeah.
Because the reality is, women, we are pretty self-sufficient. We can take care of stuff. We can get it done. We can suck it up, put on our boots, and we'll do it. We're very independent. We can do things by ourselves, but we don't have to.
Right.
And so you have to invite your spouse to allow to help, but you have to know what you need.
So, and this would lead into our next one, that sex should be free from guilt and shame. So some Christians are raised in environments where sex is viewed negatively.
Yeah.
And so it's like, just that, it's viewed negatively. But sex within marriage is pure, holy, should be celebrated.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's exciting. It should be something talked about.
Yeah.
And so how do we, if somebody watching right now, somebody listening right now is on that side of like, it's shameful to them. Mm-hmm. They feel guilty when they have sex because they were taught at such a young age about like purity, which matters.
Right.
But now it wasn't though, but
It was don't have sex, don't have sex, don't have sex, don't have sex. And now you're married and you can have sex. It's
right.
like, but it's ingrained in me not to have sex.
Right.
And it could be for any reason. I don't want to just say that whole like purity movement.
Right.
It could be from something that's actually hurtful.
Yep.
Trauma, like abuse.
Yep.
It could be. And so I would say this in the most sensitive way possible, that what happened to you or what you were told or whatever the case may be, the trauma, the abuse, the wrong information, because the wrong information is don't have sex. It's just wait, right? So whatever that was for you. But I would say, even though those things happened to you and those things weren't your fault, it is your responsibility to get healing. And so that's different for everybody. Mm-hmm. If it's trauma and abuse, there's healing in the Lord. Like he can literally heal you from that past trauma. There's counseling. There's so much that but it is your responsibility. It's not just something that you can just push to the side, because if you did choose to get married, this is a part of the responsibility. And I say that with such empathy, yeah, and sympathy, because I've been there. But you do have to at some point take the responsibility. It's hard. Sometimes it's a long road. But it is your responsibility, because you have to understand that this isn't just for you. This is for your spouse. Your healing is also for your spouse and actually for your children. Mm-hmm. You are not going to understand the weight of, you think it's a secret. You think nobody's going to know. You think it's not going to be passed on. I'm telling you, it is going to affect your children. And so it is your responsibility to find healing.
Yeah, that's good. Even when you saying that reminds me of the Bible talks about renewing our minds.
Yeah.
You know, you have to have thoughts renewed. Mm-hmm. And that comes with healing. That comes from being able to get to a place of getting it out, talking to a counselor, talking to a therapist, diving into the Bible and actually seeing what God says about sex, about what it was.
Renewing your mind.
Exactly. Not about the way, because even as you were just saying that, like when you're told like, don't have sex, don't have sex, don't have sex. It's almost like if you're told before you're 16, don't drive the car, don't drive the car, don't drive the car. And all of a sudden you're 16. It's like, hey, here are the keys. It's like, whoa, I don't want to drive.
Right.
I've never been, because it's always been saying don't. And maybe you have the fear of like, what's going to happen when I drive? Is there going to be a car accident? Is someone going to hit me? You know, all the different things. Mm-hmm. Instead of understanding, no, you get to drive when you're 16.
Right.
And same thing sexually. You get the keys when you're married, and then go for it.
Right.
And so, and understanding that you shouldn't feel guilt, you shouldn't feel shame if you were raised a certain way, and then also having the mindset, like what you just said, is there conversations you need to have with your spouse, with a counselor, with God,
Yeah.
and breaking free from chains from your past. We've already talked about this, but that sex needs to be communicated openly. Open communication of sex is vital for a healthy marriage. We need to talk about our desires, our needs, boundaries. And you've mentioned that before.
Yeah.
Where you're like, nope.
That's a hard no. I'm not doing it.
That's a hard pass right there. We should be honest with each other about what we enjoy and what makes us uncomfortable. And that will foster a safe space for growth and connection.
Yeah.
So we just have to get to that place. And again, I should be able to have these conversations with you and not get offended and vice versa, because I want what's best for you and you want what's best for me.
Yeah.
Right. And I want to please you and you want to please me. So it's like, okay, what do we want to do? What can we bring in? What does my wife feel comfortable with?
If this is helping you today, I want you to take some time right now, hit that subscribe button below.